I think it's work in progress, but we have the building blocks, and so we are very clear in our minds how we can do that. I mean, understanding the problem sometimes is half the problem solved.
So you agree
Uh,
that there's a problem with our tourist site?
I call it issues. I mean, with our tourist sites. I mean, some of them. I mean, the issue of sanitation, the issue of ownership. You know, the reason why investments have not gone into most of these sites is also a factor of who owns them. So you go into a community and then there's no proper governance structure of who owns the site. So the community says this is for us. At the end of the day, 20 people come, they go, they take the money, they share, everybody goes home. You know, so we are curing that. How are we curing that? We are curing that with a model that we have developed out of Kintampo, which is working very well, where you have the traditional authority, the tourism authority, and the municipal assembly or district assembly, for that matter, coming together as a joint committee owning the facility. And so there's transparency. Everybody knows how much is collected. Yours is 30%. Yours is 30%. GTA, yours is 10%. The rest goes into an escrow account for redevelopment. We started with Kintampo, and when we did that, we've been able to now add on a canopy walkway. There's a zip line that is also coming up there. It wouldn't have happened. So we want to cure it with regulation. So what we've started doing is to sign MOUs with almost all the assemblies and the traditional authorities where there are these facilities. So far, we've signed a lot of them with Paga, with Tafia Tome, the Ochihene Palace, Bonre, all those things. We've signed these agreements. That will give us some comfort because you are working with public funds, and so for you to go in and put money into a facility, you need to make sure that one, it's going to be put to good use, and two, it's something that is sustainable. And so once we put in place those structures, then we can now bring in the right investment. Fortunately, it's also coming at a time when we are working with the World Bank on a Ghana Tourism Development Project, which is a $40 million project. Out of it, we have a component of 15 million, 1 million for destination planning, and then 14 million for site development. So we've gone through some elaborate considerations with sister agencies, the Museums and Monuments Board, the Ghana Tourism Development Company, and then also the Forestry Commission, and have identified the sites. Now we are in the process of, in some cases, procurement, in some cases, safeguards and environmental issues, because in some of the places we may have to move some people, and then you have to provide alternative livelihood for them. In some of the cases, there are animal species that we have to be conscious of all that. So environmental and safeguard issues are playing very strongly there, and so that's will help. So next year, for example, there's going to be a lot of investment in that area because we've done the hard part, getting the safeguards issues and the procurement done, and then we now have to do the construction. Then to top it up, we have a legislative instrument on sites and attractions, which has gone through several phases of consideration, stakeholder engagement, parliamentary review, and is at the final stage of at the Attorney General's office. Once it becomes law, then we don't even need to go through this elaborate process of trying to get the MOUs. Once it becomes law, what we are saying is that for you to have a site that is open, because bear in mind that about more than 60% of the sites in Ghana are not owned by government.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but now what we're going to say is that before your site is open, there are certain things that you need to do before you get a license to operate. One, proper governance structure, management. Who is managing the site? Have they been trained? Two, safety and security. How safe is the environment? Are we doing maintenance? If there are adventure sports, is it being maintained? Are there regular checks and all that? Three, the issue of environmental awareness. Most of our sites, forest areas and all those things, you need to make sure that you're providing those things there. And more importantly, things like washroom facilities, receptive facilities. You can't have a site, you go and people will come and say, oh, can I use the washroom? Then you point them to the bush. It's not in this day and age. But you can't also just go there and say, hey, I'm coming here, I'm putting a toilet here. So there has to be that engagement. And that engagement is what we have done so far.